Hi everyone, it's David Wheeler at Wycombe Wanderers and you're listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. We're live on location at the Caledonian Suite at Adams Park for the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation Warm Hub, with big thanks to Dreams and Buckinghamshire Council as well. Lots to bring you in the next hour. We'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth reflecting on the January transfer window and, of course, looking ahead to Saturday's trip to Port Vale. Katie Riddington, we'll hear from her as well, Wycombe Wanderers Women forward. While we're here, we'll be chatting to ex-players Vince Faulkner and Keith Samuel as well, and some of the patrons who are down. We've got our regular check-up with Phil as well, who's here with us as well. We'll hear from him in a second just to prove it. And also we'll be reflecting on the opening of the Reardon Room, which is another fantastic initiative that the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation have put on as well. I'm very pleased to say that Team Wycombe Wanderers Foundation have joined us as well. Please introduce yourselves, actually.
Hi Colin, I'm Mark Gateskill. I'm the Chief Executive of Wycombe Wanderers Foundation.
Hi Colin, Luke Godfrey, Head of Inclusion.
Hi, I'm Callula Ashby, Business Administrator Apprentice.
And you'll be answering questions on the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation this evening. Phil's with us as well. A very good evening to you.
Hello.
More from Phil shortly, but Mark, it's a fantastic initiative. Thank you so much for having us down, and really great to see firsthand what goes on a Tuesday and Thursday.
No, look, thanks for coming down. You're a little bit underneath the age bracket for the guys to come down, but yeah, it's a great initiative we've done in partnership with a number of people. You know, the club's official sponsor Dreams put some money in. We've got the Bucks Council who've helped us support the programme, and the club obviously supporting us being based here at Adams Park. It's a social space for over 65s to come down and have a free meal, spend some social time with other people, and enjoy the facilities here at Adams Park.
And Luke, we'll talk to you more about the Warm Hub in a sec, but we just want to know your thoughts on the HS2 first of all, and the latest developments on that. Oh, no, not really.
How long have you got? It's a hot topic in the office. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as Mark touched on, it is nice that, you know, we've spoken to several patrons already, people who've come regularly sort of every week, and some, you know, a gentleman for the first time who just heard about it and said that, you know, he doesn't usually come out of an evening and doesn't really see anyone during the week, and really nice to come here and meet new people.
That's it. I think you've got it in one. It's been a fantastic space for people to come down and socialise. The fact that we've got people coming week after week after week is brilliant. It's clearly a testament to what we're doing and the impact it's having within the community. And just to hear the conversations, just to see the people smiling and having a great time. That's why we're doing it.
And that's something that really comes across too, isn't it? From, you know, people that you've chatted to and have been here.
Yeah, it's just nice to be able to help people and make a difference to their lives.
And Mark, it's something that's been so well received as well.
Yeah, look, I think there's a couple of other clubs that have put on. The cost of living crisis is real. It's happening. It's affecting people, and the club came to us, and it was a joint initiative together that we wanted to do something to help and give back. And there's people out there that need support, and we've got some great facilities. We've got. It's called the Warm Hub for a reason. It's in Monty's, and Monty's is particularly warm and particularly toasty. We even had to open the door on one night. But look, it's great. It's there to try and help. You know, people can save some money on their heating, get a lovely meal cooked by our lovely club chef, and enjoy some time with people. Look, we've had comments where people it's just so nice to meet new people again at that age, which, you know, that's why we're doing it.
I think that's what the real sort of feel of community is that comes across as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And these aren't necessarily football people either. Some of them have not been to Adams Park before, aren't necessarily Wycombe fans. So it's their first time and it's their first impression of the football club. And we're all working together to try to help. So I think it's been a resounding success, and we're already talking about what next, how to carry this on, because it's been great. We've run it for 2 months, but we want it to continue.
And Luke as well, we've witnessed some very competitive dominoes a little earlier on as well. That's really nice that people, as Mark said, people who perhaps not even met before are coming together and really sort of exchanging stories, and, you know, who live locally or perhaps don't live near each other, or perhaps have not been to the football club before.
Yeah, the games are kind of an addition to it, but just seeing, like you say, people come down. You know, we had a example the second week where someone who had met someone 30 years prior had never seen them since, and then they came on the first night, and here they were, and they kind of were able to kind of strike up that relationship again, and conversations, and that's brilliant, and it, you know, like Mark said, some of them aren't football people at all, and we almost, that's almost even better to be able to get them involved with what we're doing, because we don't want it to be closed off to just Wycombe fans or people that are into football. So the fact we've got such a diverse group of people come in and with different interests and hobbies is fantastic for them, and it's making for great conversation and great evenings every week.
And people feel so comfortable as well, which is something else that really comes across.
That's good to hear. That's good feedback. Obviously, it's nice to see that people are enjoying themselves, and it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel, just sit down for 3 hours and off they go. They're able to have those conversations and that nice time and a comfortable meal and enjoy each other's company. So that's great to hear.
So how can people find out more if they want to come along?
Yeah, so they can, for more information on the evening, they come to our website, which is the www.wycombewanderersfoundation.com.
It is.
I got it. Or they can go onto the club's website, which is www.wycombewanderers.com.
www.fc.com.
There you go. Or they can call us up directly on the club office number, which we will provide Colin at some point in the next 20 seconds, and you can book in via one of our colleagues in the office. So it's nice and easy. It's all there, really easy to do.
It's a brilliant initiative. Thanks very much, and thank you again so much for having us.
No, thanks for coming down.
Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, of course, this week as well have opened the Reardon Room. We'll chat more about that in a few moments' time. But as mentioned, Phil's with us, and it's been the transfer window this week, and you've spoken to both Gareth and also to Pete as well.
Yeah, wonderful time to have a chat with them. We spoke up on the set of Wanderers TV. The window was still open. We spoke at 6 o'clock for 25 minutes on the whole window. We talked about Anis leaving, we talked about the other departures, we talked about Chem Campbell coming in. So we talked about the whole window and the impact it would have on the club, the challenges of a club of Wycombe size in the window, and then what it means for the rest of the season. So it's great to get that out and published 2 hours before the window shut. So I was quite relieved there wasn't any late drama, because I'd have had to re-edit it and then put it back out again. But it was really fascinating insight into the window, because fans get very excited when the window opens, and then obviously as we approach the deadline. But the team of people who work on this for Wycombe Wanderers, this is 365 days a year they prepare for this. I spoke to the recruitment analyst today. They're already working on the summer window. They do it 2 or 3 windows in advance. Fascinating to see, and obviously we all know the ins and outs now of what's happened. So yeah, hopefully we've got the squad that can take us into the top 6 come May.
So fascinating to hear from Gareth, and also from Pete as well, who, as he describes, it's quite a strange time of the season.
Mid-season, it's kind of crazy that in the middle of the season you could have so much shake-up, but I guess because it is such a long season, and you do have different situations that you have to deal with sort of mid-year. There's what Daryl and Sully are dealing with, and then some of the young boys that are coming on so strong, some of the guys that we brought in, and everybody getting healthier and healthier gives fewer minutes.
What sometimes I find difficult, and I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong here, I don't need to change a great deal because we're in a good place. We're doing okay, we're on good runs, we're just outside the playoffs in what is an incredibly tough league. Some teams, I won't mention them, but they've changed. They're up there, they're higher than us, and they seem to have changed 6 or 7 players, and I'm like, wow, what does that do to your dressing room? What does that do to your team's chances? Let's see at the end of the season, because only 2 can get promoted automatically, and for me there's been a lot of changes up there. We'll see who got it right, who got it wrong, but after 10 years I know what's best for me and what works for me. Some managers need to turn those players around every 2 years. They need to, because they're different managers to me. I prefer to build and keep everyone together. No, it's
half of them are threats, because selling everybody's favourite player.
Let's talk about that, because deadline day often brings the drama, and it's bought Wycombe's record transfer fee, but it's also bought
what was the previous?
Well, you tell me. I mean, it's normally undisclosed, isn't it?
I think Nathan Tyson was a big one. I remember Scott Devine back in the day. Uchi.
It's got to be Uchi. Well, how much was?
What was Devine?
Tyson was
200,000.
Yeah, he was like 300. Tyson was 675.
Yep.
Oh, we've beaten it twice already.
We're close. Well, Anis is obviously he's up there now, and brilliant for the boy,
But it brings an end to the first development cycle, because this is a boy that was brought in from non-league without a club, having been released from Norwich under-23s. He was in step 9. He's been brought in. He's been
really one of the first trialists.
Yeah.
He was very early in that season.
I remember that first game out here.
Yeah.
Slough, I think the game was.
Yeah, against the former Wycombe guy.
Yeah, on the far pitches, and I think Martin Cool was involved with Slough, and brought a team over. I remember I was stood next to you, Gracie was there, and Gracie walked over, and I'd seen 10 minutes. I went, "Who's that?"
No, you said at the beginning. you said, Gracie, which one of these guys you like? And he says, "Why don't you see if you can pick him out?" 10 minutes into the game, he's like, "It's that one."
Who's that? And he said, "That's Anis."
Yeah.
We have to credit, our scouting department and for getting him in, and Gracie getting him in on trial. But then once I saw him playing in that game, it was apparent to everybody. I remember us both looking at him going, "Wow, he's dribbling past everyone, this guy." And he was
Chesham. He smashed a free kick from like 35 yards off of the top, like
Chesham.
up.
Yeah. I remember that. I wasn't at that game.
No.
I called you. I wasn't at that game. I called you, and you told me Anis has just hit up in 90. And I'm like, so that's the first time I heard.
You mean top bins?
Top bins, yeah. So I mean, what a guy! What a guy! And then his progression into the first team training, first of all, Phil, he impressed in training big time. He used to dance around some of the first teamers and smash balls in the goal and that. And this was when he wasn't in the team. And Anis has almost closed it now. He's closed that circle of coming in, making your first team, being a superstar, and he's closed that circle of that development group that we started 3 years ago. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's proven it's working. Some of my biggest smiles on my face isn't Anis's top corner goals. I've seen him do that. It's not Anis travelling past people. What's my biggest smile sometimes? When he wins headers in the midfield,
yes.
Or when he's tracking back. They were the biggest moments for me on Anis. When he gets up and he wins a header, and he still has the odd time when he just jumps at a man and he has no intention of winning the header, but he wants to learn. He wants to do this so much. He's gonna be a superstar, I'm telling you now. But it's him. He's learned. He's willing to do it. He was in the gym every morning. Any lesson to any young players who want to make it. And he's committed. He properly committed. And I'm glad Bristol have committed to him, because they're going to get a real superstar on their hands.
Great to hear from the manager and, of course, Pete as well, and more from Gareth Ainsworth before the end of the show as well. And Phil, I think when you listen to that, you kind of hear and feel a lot more sort of positive, because I think as a fan you think, Anis has gone and there have been other departures and there have only been a couple of incomings, and fans are sort of tearing up their shopping list, aren't they, of their ideal kind of players that they expected to come in.
Yeah, I think you've got to look at the bigger picture with this one, because Anis Mehmeti was a guy that was playing step 9 football to keep fit, to play football with his mates, to fall back in love with the game. He came on trial at Wycombe Wanderers, and immediately Sam Grace and the others saw something in Anis. He was a real raw talent. His technical ability was without question, but what we've seen happen is him become the complete footballer under Gareth Ainsworth. And this season, I think he's used that disappointment of missing the playoff final due to injury. He's come back this season and has been even more determined, if that's possible. And he's the all-round footballer, and everyone is so excited to see what he does next, because hopefully he's going to continue his rapid ascent up the pyramid. I think we'll see him in the Premier League one day. And hopefully there's more money to come for Wycombe Wanderers. We've already received a club record transfer fee, and like I said, this is a guy that's been plucked out of step 9 for nothing. And let's not forget as well the impact. 3 years of Anis Mehmeti as a player for Wycombe Wanderers. It's not like he's come here, played half a dozen games, been amazing and then gone. We've all enjoyed his rise. We've seen him grow into that footballer. We've seen the pitfalls, when he got sent off at Sunderland. We saw him learn that lesson in front of our very eyes. And this season we've seen him really step up. And it's been a joy to watch. Would have been maybe nice if he'd stayed until the summer, but I'm being greedy there. But look, the model of this football club now to generate its own players, its younger players, to generate assets and to sell them on, this is what will make Wycombe Wanderers a sustainable club. He's the first one off the conveyor belt, from the moment we brought him in to where we are now, and hopefully there's a lot more to follow. A really good news story for the club, as I say. Great to see the player continue and sort of come up through the ranks at Adams Park. And obviously there's been no match on Saturday, but it seems like there's been a lot going on this week, obviously with the transfer window as well. And Mark's still with us. Of course, the Foundation's had a great event on Monday with the official opening of the Reardon Room. Yeah, we did. A long time coming, but a really great event for the Foundation, I think, for the club and the ex-players as well. So John Reardon, a club legend. We've given one of the Foundation office rooms a bit of a facelift, thanks to some kind donations
legends from the Reardon family and the ex-players who did some fundraising for us as well. And hopefully Rob's not listening and he won't mind me saying this. The rooms were a little bit tired, so we've spent a little bit of money, put in some money ourselves, and given them a real touch up. And the John Reardon room is a community hub now. It's a very multifunctional project room. It's going to benefit lots of different people within the community, and we're going to bring lots of people to Adams Park to benefit from that room. So I think a fitting tribute to Mr. Wycombe.
And a fantastic way as well to find out what the foundation's all about and what you do in the community as well.
Yeah, really great. Look, on Monday when we did the opening, Martin O'Neill was kind enough to come and open the room for us. Gareth was there. We've got a number of ex-player legends who were there as well, but then also a number of people who are either partners of the foundation or local dignitaries. We had the mayor there, we had various councillors, so it was really great to have a full room of people that maybe some again didn't really know too much about the foundation, but bringing it all together nicely.
And Phil, fantastic to see Martin O'Neill there, and obviously someone who John Reardon worked very closely with.
Well, yeah, I remember John Reardon as Martin O'Neill's assistant, and it was really lovely to learn of the 40 years previous to that he did with the club as a player and a coach and everything else, it seems, he did for this club. But it just goes to show the esteem that he was held in by everyone at the club, that Martin O'Neill wanted to be here, wanted to speak so fondly of John, or Reardo as he called him, and the stories were brilliant. And Martin O'Neill was a wonderful raconteur, as is John D. Taylor of the Ex-Players Association as well. So it was lovely, and for the family to see that as well. But for me, as a Wycombe fan of a certain age, it's always a real pleasure to chat to Martin, and I spoke to him after he'd opened the room.
I think he is Mr. Wycombe. I think that he's done everything really at the football club. He's been the manager, he's been assistant manager, he's been the secretary. There's nothing he hasn't done. So he's entitled to be called Mr. Wycombe. But for me, it's just a genuine privilege to be asked by the family, to be asked by John Taylor I'm talking about, just to come and cut the ribbon. Really fantastic.
A man that was integral to your time here at Adams Park as well.
Well, yes, I've just said in there that I think Mr. Beeks foisted him onto me in the first place, and a relationship to begin with was rather frosty, or certainly in my part it was. John couldn't be frosty with anyone really, but after a couple of days he just said to me, "Listen, if you don't think this is working," he said, "I'll disappear. I can leave." And I must admit, I did feel quite bad about it. So I said, "Listen, let's see how we go." And we were inseparable for the number of years then after that. He was fantastic for me, he was fantastic to me, and he was fantastic for the football club.
It's been a wonderful day here. What do you think John would have made of all this and the John Reardon room?
Do you know what I think? I think obviously secretly he'd be delighted. But do you know what I honestly think he would think? It's a bit of a fuss. It's a real fuss. And it was something that he didn't do. If he's saying that, well, you're doing all of this here simply because I love the football club, he would have thought the two didn't tally. That's the point. That's the type of fella he was. And I think not just my experience of him, but the number of accolades that were bestowed on him today, there was a familiar ring to all of the stories, that you could have an argument with John, you could have a tough debate about it. He would stick to his own point of view, but half an hour later he would be just walking through the room as if you'd never talked at all, in the sense that you just forgot about it.
And finally, you've been around the game a long time as well now. Is there another story like this? Someone who's done every role at the club right the way through all that time?
Not at all. It's an impossibility. I think that maybe the closest you could get is that Frank Clark, for instance, at Nottingham Forest. Frank was a player, a very, very good player for us, won a European Cup medal. Then he became the manager, and then he became a chairman. So I think John missed out in the chairmanship, but he did every other role. So that's the only comparison I can draw, and that's not bad company for him to be in.
Great stuff. Well done for not cutting Gareth's hair when you had those scissors so close to him as well.
Absolutely. Just to say, really great, fantastic result against Oxford as well too, and I know, and just a continuation of beating the odds. It's marvellous.
Fantastic to see Martin back at Adams Park, and obviously to hear him telling stories about the days with John as well.
Yeah, like I said, he's such a great person to chat to, and it's so warm and fond, those memories as well. And I've been around the club for years as a fan, and you're always learning, and Monday was brilliant to hear all those stories as well, because I didn't realise that John Reardon was instrumental in bringing Matt Crossley to Wycombe Wanderers. Matt Cecil's favourite ever Wycombe Wanderers player, I think, if that's an exclusive here on Wycombe Sound. But Matt was there as well, and it's lovely to hear John Reardon's part in bringing Matt Crosley to the club. And he refused to speak in front of Martin. He said he'd be making too nervous. But once Martin had left, I spoke to Matt as well, which was nice.
Jim Kelman was the manager at the time, and Jim said to John, there's a centre half, left back, right back. He said have a little look. Jim sort of half fancied me, and he said told John to come and watch, and he came. I didn't know he was there. I didn't know this till afterwards. I signed, and John said he watched me, and they invited me up to Bisham Abbey to train on a Thursday. It was Wilson. They were playing Wilson on the Saturday. Invited me up to Bisham Abbey just to train. I thought, this is nice going. I was at Overton playing in Hampshire League, go and train at Wycombe at Bisham Abbey. Turned up, met John. He still hadn't told me that he'd watched me. Come in the changing room, have a training session. I had a training session. I thought, can I come back next week? And they said, no, you're playing Saturday. I was like, you're playing against Wealdstone Saturday. So I signed, and that was it. All down to John and obviously Jim.
We've heard all the roles that John played at Wycombe Wanderers, but you knew him as a player, as the assistant manager, largely to Martin O'Neill. How was he around the players? What was he like to work under?
He was very he's very encouraging, John. If you had a bad game, it wasn't a case of you were awful today. It wasn't, it was a pat on the back. You're a good player. You haven't had you don't have your best game, but it was always encouraging, for the next game, and the encouragement was you see it from a mile coming off John. Yeah. So.
Can you imagine Wycombe Wanderers without his contribution?
No, he was there all the time. I was there, John. So it wasn't a case of taking him for granted. Wherever we went on football tours, game home and away, wherever we went, training sessions, John was always there. I mean, Martin elaborated it that John would injure a couple of players in training, and I always remember John would run at you and he wouldn't stop running, and I thought, John, just stop running for a change, because he's running straight into you. But now when you get to a certain age, you understand that why he doesn't stop running, because it's the same now. I'm that age now where you try and stop yourself running. If you run into somebody or you'll go straight into that wall.
Great to hear also, of course, from former Wycombe Wanderers defender Matt Crosley, and fantastic to hear from someone who, John actually spotted. Yeah,
and there's a really good tip. If you can't stop running, if you never start in the first place, then you don't have that problem. So
from an experienced runner,
a really good tactic. But yeah, great to hear from Matt Crosley as well. But what was really lovely was the family, like John's brother, who also played for Wycombe Wanderers, was there, his wife and his daughter, because sadly, John passed away at the back end of the pandemic, so it meant that his funeral wasn't accessible for as many people as perhaps would have wanted to come and pay their respects. And it was great for them to be able to hear all those stories again, and also to see other people coming to speak about John. And his daughter was made up at the event as well, and I spoke to her afterwards as well.
It's been absolutely wonderful. We've been overwhelmed by the goodwill and what the foundation have done with this beautiful space that so many children will benefit from. It's been a wonderful day. We're very grateful.
What do you think your dad would have made of all of this?
He was so unassuming that I think he'd be completely overwhelmed to be a part of their history, but to be remembered like this, I think it's magical, really magical. They've given us this beautiful book as well that I'm holding.
It's been wonderful to hear the stories today.
Yes.
A lot of people spoke, and one thing that jumped out was he played on his wedding day.
Absolutely, he did. And so she really knew what she was getting herself in for. They were married for 63 years. They were together longer. So the whole of his marriage has been football. His whole life and their whole marriage was football all the way.
And to have Martin O'Neill here today to cut the ribbon on the room as well, and to speak so fondly of your dad as well was lovely too.
Yes, Martin spoke so eloquently and in such a with his fabulous fun stories at our funeral for Daddy, but that was during COVID, so we could only have 30 people there, and so to hear some of those stories again today, and I think when he speaks he comes alive again because there's so many fun times they had.
An amazing legacy your father has at this football club, and like you say, he lives on in everybody's memories, and now will continue to live on now with the John Reardon Room.
It's more than I ever could have dreamed. We're absolutely thrilled. Thank you to the club and everyone to for their contribution, and onwards now.
Mark, what do you hope people take away from the Reardon room?
That Rio's legacy lives on through the room really was the key thing for us, and as a team of staff, it was the room's great. It's going to help lots of people within the High Wycombe community, but we wanted to come up with something else that could help with that. So we're actually, and you heard it here, I want to say first, but we announced it at the Rio's room opening, so second still quite exclusive. We're going to do Rio's Ramble, so a marathon walk that will take place in the summer, starting and finishing at Adams Park in honour of Rio again, but also as a fundraiser for the foundation. So if people want to get involved in that, look out. There'll be some more info coming out on that quite soon.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you so much, Annie, for your time. Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, more from the Warm Hub. We'll speak to a couple of the guests here this evening, and we'll speak to a couple of ex-players as well here on Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Part 2 of this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show, live from the Warm Hub at Adams Park. We're in the Caledonian Suite. Certainly is warm. I can recommend the food as well. I had 2 portions. Don't ask. Still to come, we'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth. It's transfer deadline week, of course, and also we'll be previewing the fixture against Port Vale. We'll speak to a couple of the guests here tonight, and we'll chat to a couple of other ex-players as well. But first, been catching up with another of Wycombe Wanderers women's squad, Katie Riddington, signed in the summer and has been doing really, really well, and actually scored on Sunday in the League Cup. And as she says, the team, although not doing so well results-wise, very well in terms of performance.
I think with Carl and Dan coming in, there was things that everyone needed to work on, and I've known Carl for quite a while, so I sort of understood straight away what he was expecting of the team, what we each needed to do to try and get results on the board. But as a new team starting the season, it takes time to build, and I feel like we're certainly now at a point where things are just starting to come together. We're finally clicking positionally. We're all playing really well, and I think personally this is the best I've played so far throughout my years playing. I feel really confident at the moment, scoring lots of goals, so I feel like we're in a good place at the moment. We're certainly at a point where we've gelled, and I think that we're starting to understand that if you're playing in certain positions, who's going to be next to you, what they're good at, what their weaknesses are, and you can help them build on things. And I think in games it's just really nice to know that no matter what, you've got support around you, so it doesn't matter if you make a mistake or anything, there's always someone there to pick you up and help you get back on the right track to go and improve next time. We've all got great character. I mean, it just shows the determination that we've got, that no matter what the scoreline is, we always want to go out there and prove to everyone that, even if we are 4 goals down, we're not down and out of the game. We're still there to fight and to win our battles and to try and get something from the game. So it's really good to see that everyone really digs in and really tries hard to get something from the game.
And you touched on a bit about your own game. Well, it's great that you're sort of pleased that that's coming along and seems to be sort of developing at the right time of the season.
Yeah, I think we are developing perfectly right now, but with our season being so short, there's such few teams in the league, it's a shame that it's come at this point. We've only got a couple of league games left and we're still in the League Cup, so hopefully with that continuing we can carry on building. But I feel like if we'd sort of picked up before Christmas and maybe got a few more points on the board, we could have really gone into it after Christmas and had a really good run into the end of the season.
We should talk more about Sunday as well, because that was a great result in the Cup, as you say, and a goal for yourself as well.
Yeah, so I was really pleased with that. I got 1, Freya got 3, and Amy Leach got another 1. So I think for all of us, we really were pleased that we was able to go and put on a performance and get the win, and really prove to people that we're not to write us off, because we're not doing great in the league, but actually when it really matters, we can go out there and put on a performance and just prove to everyone that, we're Wycombe Wanderers Women, this is what we're about.
As you say, you've had a few sort of disappointing results and probably not at the place in the table that your performances deserve, really. But do you feel that you're involved in the team at a really special time where something's building?
Yeah, I'm really pleased that I've come in this season and have able to help out the team. And I feel like if, certain players weren't involved, it would be completely different. Not because they're bad, but because, what they bring to the team is just amazing. I mean, we've all got different things that we can bring, and I feel like it's great that we're able to build off each other and bounce ideas and play well off each other, which is really good. We all get on really well, and it's really nice because other teams I've been involved with, we haven't really had this togetherness, and I feel like it really shows that on the pitch we're so together and off the pitch we're so together. It's just nice that we can bring it both off and on the pitch. It's amazing.
And I'm sure you don't think of yourself as inspirational, but it must be a great sense of pride for you to be in the first team and think that players from the reserves and under 18s and even other younger girls as well who come and watch you play, really look up to you and what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see people thinking of me as an inspiration is great because, we all look up to someone. So if there's a little girl out there that's looking up to me and thinking, wow, I want to be like her, then I think personally that's amazing. I never thought that I'd have that effect on someone. But if there is that effect, then it's a wonderful feeling.
I think at schools especially, like you get young girls who are perhaps, just trying to perhaps get into football and they see, players like yourselves and you really look up to what you're doing and would want to do that themselves someday.
Yeah, I think, if there's an opportunity out there there's loads of opportunities now for girls to go and play, and I think it's something that we need to keep building and keep creating these opportunities for these girls to play because it's only going to increase the amount of young girls wanting to get into football. And I think if they have the opportunity, they should take it. I mean, even if they don't like it at first, it's not always about the football. Sometimes it's about the social side, going and having a bit of fun with friends, doing something that, is going to keep you fit and healthy, and you're going to enjoy it eventually. I'm sure about that.
And just finally, what do you, for yourself and also for the team, hope to achieve in the remainder of the season?
Personally, I'm hoping to score a few more goals, get up the goal tally ladder. But I think as a team, we need to get a couple more points on the board, secure our place in this league for next season. But most importantly, go out and enjoy the football that we play. And if we can enjoy it and get points on the board, then we'll be in a good place going into the new season.
Really brilliant to chat to Katie Riddington, the first team no match this week end, but look out for their remaining league fixtures and try and get to a game at Burnham. I'm very pleased to say we're joined by two members of the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association who are very regulars down at these nights as well, Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Wycombe Wanderers Warm Hub. Keith Samuels and Vince Faulkner are with us. Very good evening to you both.
Good evening to you. Thank you very much for asking us on.
Thank you so much indeed for having us. And Vince, obviously we've spoken to you previously on the show as well without actually being here in person, but it's a fantastic occasion to sort of be at and you really get the sense of community that these evenings bring.
Well, it's hitting what we aimed it to do. This is the 7th of 14 evenings. As you correctly said at the start, it's twice a week. It goes till the 28th of February. We've had an increase of people coming in since the start. Word of mouth has got around. Mark Gaskell and his team have been out doing flyers around Wycombe. And we had 41 here last Thursday. We've got, I think, just over 30 here this evening. And it's hit the people that we wanted to hit at, really, which is the people who are at home on their own, possibly might be financially a little bit insecure at this moment in time, heating, food. They can come down here. And everybody down here this evening probably didn't know one another when they came here 4 weeks ago. They know everybody now. They're playing games. And no, really, it's been a pleasure. And I think Keith will say his bit, but it's been a pleasure for me to come down and do it. So
and Keith, really as well, you personally have got something out of the experience too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I come down, like, as Vince said, just because it's something that we wanted to get involved in. I mean, we just come down, we go around, have a chat with the people, have a laugh and a joke, and they really enjoy the evening because, as Vince said, there's people here that they were strangers. Now they're all friends. They're all playing games, games at the tables, and they enjoy the meals. I mean, they say that the meals, there's no complaints about any of the meals. I think you found out tonight when you had yours.
Portions.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. You had two. You wanted extras, but. And it's great. And I mean, Mark, Luke, and Callula, well, they're just great the way that they get involved
as
in
well.
it.
What you can get out of people, as
When
I just said,
talk, yeah.
We've just been again just gone to a table just to make sure everything's okay, and we've just got chatting in general. And what you get feedback from these people, they get confidence in talking to you, and then they start on about their life, what they've done previously. You know, the gentleman sitting there, he's been in the RAF for years, and he's told us about what he did and where he's been, and it's just all entwined. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Feel comfortable coming on their own as well. You don't necessarily have to come with someone.
No, that's right.
You'll soon be made welcome.
That's right. Well, we had a gentleman. We were sat at the table to having our food, and the gentleman came in. Probably it was just before you started your show at 7, and you know, it's the first time he's been. Came, he sat with us. We've introduced him to a couple of people, and you know, hopefully he'll come again. So it's.
And Keith, he said he was a Wycombe fan, but you don't necessarily have to be a football fan to really come and get a lot out of these evenings.
No. Well, I mean, a lot of these people here, we often ask them, say, are you a Wycombe supporter? How did you find out? That guy that came and sat at our table tonight, he saw it in the Free Press. So he came down and he said, you know, I saw it in the Free Press, I thought I'd give it a try. And he was saying to us that he has a problem getting the commentaries on the matches on his radio. So I called Phil Catchpole over.
He's the person to speak to. He does the commentaries. What a coincidence.
Yeah, and he came over and explained to him exactly what he could do and how he could get it. So he's written all the 106.6 FM and another one, the other one that he can get.
On the back of a Wycombe flyer.
On the back of one of the flyers that he was taking home. So he now knows that that's just a little simple thing like that. Just through coming here, he can now, on a Saturday, listen to the game.
And conversely as well, though, I think the people of an age that do come here will probably have seen, you know, the likes of yourself and Vince in action, and a great opportunity to chat to you about memorable occasions if they can remember.
The funny thing about it was as well that the first couple of nights we came down here, people came in and they thought that we'd come down here to have a meal and keep in the warm. But then we explained. Then we explained to them, no, we've just come down here to help out. We're ex-players, and it's something that we wanted to do, you know, to get involved in. And they went, oh, we thought that you were part and parcel of the people that were coming down here, you know, to keep warm and have a meal.
Yeah, it was an interesting question you asked, actually, because I think that probably 50% of the people that have attended are not what I would call football people, but it's done, what I said at the start of the interview, is that they've got these people out to come down here and to meet, and that's what we've done.
And it's so nice to hear different people's stories, because even if they, as you say, if they didn't know that you played for the club, just to hear your kind of background.
No, it's good. No, it's been a real pleasure, I have to say, although I've come a few miles, but it's a pleasure to come down and
fantastic. There's some current players have popped in as well in previous times.
Yeah, we've had 2 visits, Joe Jacobson and Jasper Patton has come in as well, so they've come in and had chat. So yeah, it's been really worthwhile.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been great to chat to you both. Thank you so much. And it's on till the end of February at least.
February the 28th.
And you want to chat about the quiz as well? Give the quiz a plug.
The quiz. Yeah, the WWEPA quiz. The 25th of March. Starts at the doors open at 6. Starts at 7:30. There's a 1-course meal. And we get about 120, 130 people here. Lovely prizes, a nice trophy. And if anybody's interested, if they go onto the website for the Ex-Players, it's got all the details on there. I'm the treasurer. They just send all their monies to me and let me know. You can have a table of 10. And I'd love to see more people than we can get. It'd be lovely.
Yeah. Pleasure to have you both on the show. Thanks a lot for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Keith Samuels and Vince Faulkner speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show for this week. We're live at the warm hub, it is warm, at Adams Park in the Caledonian Suite. I can confirm the food is excellent as well. I'm very pleased to say we're joined by 2 patrons. Is it fair to call you patrons? Doreen and Brian are with us. Have you been every week? Is that right, Brian?
Yeah.
And Doreen, how did you find out about it?
Brilliant. Well, we found out for a friend, didn't we? Brian left. Yeah, he told us about it. So we thought, right, we'll come and try it out. So we booked it online.
Fantastic. And Brian, what have you sort of taken away from it each time you've come?
Oh, just a friendly atmosphere. You know, it's been great. Yeah. I haven't had a bad evening yet.
And I suppose you don't often come out on a Tuesday or Thursday evening normally.
No.
And have you met some new friends?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's been nice.
That's
actually.
the good thing about it. You meet new people.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. Yeah.
And a brilliant opportunity for... Oh, sorry.
When you're sort of sitting indoors just on your own, it gets so boring. But coming out here, we've met nice friends and the food's been excellent.
Especially this time of year, I think, as well, because
it's so
when it's cold and dark, and really nice to sort of come out and meet similar people.
Yeah,
and we said that you're both season ticket holders as well, but it's really nice to chat to people who aren't necessarily football fans and introduce them to the club as well.
We used to be football fans years ago, didn't we, though? Yeah. Yeah, but it's really enjoyable.
So it's definitely something you'd recommend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Get as many people out as they can.
Yeah.
Oh no, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. It's been brilliant to chat to you both. Brian and Doreen speaking to us on the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Just the final part of the show, and to hear from Gareth Ainsworth, the manager, who's been speaking to the media this morning. We haven't spoken to him for a couple of weeks, and as you can imagine, quite a lot's happened in that time.
Plenty has happened, Colin. You know, it feels like it's about 4 weeks gone by, hasn't it? So it's only been a couple of weeks, and the transfer window is definitely taken the limelight for Wycombe for once. You know, I looked at some of the Premier League clubs, and you know, your likes of Brentford have been super quiet, QPR, nothing, you know. Wycombe, wow, 7 outs and 2 ins, I think, and it's been, it's been an incredible window for us. The busiest I've had for my career, I think, and but I'm really pleased with where we are. Obviously, the big one going was Anis, and we've just got to be proud. We've just got to say what a great story closing that development sort of team process. It's the first one who's come through and moved on and done fantastically well in that. So that's great. Advert for that, and Sam Grace and what he does, and coming into the first team, my coaching staff and everyone who's played a part in developing Anis has got to take some credit on that. And obviously getting Chem in from Wolves, you know, big expectation from him. I just want him to be him, and he'll be good enough. Believe me, he's not the new Anis, he's the new Chem, and that's all he needs to be in this team. Yeah, and obviously the games, cancellations and sporadic games, a win against Oxford, and now it all seems to have settled down, and we've got Port Vale away and back to normal on Saturday. I do say often in press conferences that my favourite times sometimes are 11 o'clock on the 31st of January and 11 o'clock on the 31st of August. They're my favourite times, because it stops then. You've got what you've got, and you've got to get on with it, and that's a nice place for me to be.
Would you say overall that is your main emotion, if you like, pride in that, you know, players that have gone out, especially in Anis's case, obviously have gone to higher divisions, and you've brought in players from clubs from bigger leagues as well?
Yeah, do you know what? Over the years, we've never been able to do this. We've had free transfers with scrimpts and scrapes, and signed injured players, or signed, you know, everyone says Gareth Ainsworth loves a has-been. I mean, you know, there's no way Chem Campbell's a has-been. He's ready to go. Harvey Cartwright's a fantastic talent. Don't discount a couple more coming in, because we can sign after the window as long as they're free agents. So we're still working on that. But the ones who've gone out, I'm really proud of. You know, people are ringing up for my players, which never used to happen. As many managers say they'll never get in their teams, so those managers didn't ring up. But there's plenty of managers who did, and you know, Darryl and Sully both. You know, I wanted to give them the chance to go and continue their careers, because they were on the fringes here. Darryl's just had twins, which is brilliant for him, and congrats to that. But you know, he wants to go and further his career and get his contract somewhere else. Sully Kakai as well on the fringes here. You know, if I let them have 2 or 3 games from now till June, you know, what position does that put them in, and what kind of man am I if I do that knowing that's going to happen? So it's nice to be able to let them go and play games somewhere else and try and earn contracts somewhere else. They got 6 months. Damani going out to Rochdale, you know, Tyler going out to Sutton, you know. So that we've got players who are wanted. And it's really nice, you know, that teams are coming in for our players. It means we're doing something right here. And like I say, it's nice now that all the mayhem has stopped, and it's nice to start looking after my own bunch and making sure we pick up enough points to have a right go at these playoffs.
I know it's easy, isn't it, for fans, especially in the modern day of fantasy football and Championship Manager and all this sort of thing, it's to see that, you know, an exciting player like Anis has gone, and every supporter has their sort of shopping list of who they'd like to bring in, and see that they've not come in. But I know, having seen the chat that yourself and Pete did for Wanderers TV, supporters can feel a lot more optimistic after you know, those words and where Wycombe are in the table.
Yeah, there's been all sorts of rumour mongers going around, you know, about what shape is the club in. At the end of the day, we're a small club in League One, very small. And we've got great backers, real good backers who are putting their hands in their pockets to keep this club going. And that's not easy. You can't just expect people to keep shelling out money. We need some back. We need to make this club sustainable. And the Championship year, as good as it was, almost skewed our sort of finances. It really did, but we're highly competitive in League One and one of the smallest clubs in League One. I think that speaks volumes about the ownership and what they've done for this club. And also the food chain, Colin, if people like our players and they're bigger than us and they're coming in to offer money, and it's great. We have to let them go sometimes. We have to do that. It's a tough industry, and I'm sure there's people who've got fantasy football teams and they'll be swapping players, and the players they swapped out will probably do brilliant in the second half of the season. They'll be great. It's not easy, this football management, believe me. So we have to go on what we think, the evidence that's in front of us, and like I say, young Chem Campbell coming in is going to be exciting. Harvey Cartwright's going to push Max Strayek. He's a brilliant prospect for the future, and they're fitting really well with what I believe is a great squad. The likes of Gareth McCleary, Josh Gone, Dominic Gapes coming back fit, Chris Farino back fit, Alfie Mawson, hopefully we can get back. It's a real good squad for the size of this club, and I'm really proud, as always, to be the Wycombe manager, and hopefully we can get in these playoffs. I think there's a couple of spots left that everyone's going to be scrapping for. Just to be in the fight, I think, is great.
And you talked about, obviously, how important the second half of the season is, and how things will be coming good with injured players coming back, and that seems to be really coming to fruition now, especially obviously starting on Saturday against Port Vale.
Do we always have a good end to the season. I think the one time we didn't, I think we went to Oxford and they got promoted that season, and we looked at that season in a big way, and why did we not finish strong? Why did we have so many injuries? The brilliant thing about my staff is that they'll learn, and they won't just put it down to, oh, it just happened. We'll actually go into detail of why that happened, what happened. And we learned from that season. And since then, if people want to look back and see our run-ins, we've done brilliant, and there's methods in that. There's ways we do that. And again, this season, we're hoping to have a strong finish. We've got a great medical team, a real good sports science team that keep these boys in tip-top condition. It's just about me then keeping the belief and the motivation in these boys that they can achieve again what would be sensational when last season, when teams like Sheffield Wednesday and Portsmouth and Charlton and everyone else don't make that playoff final, but Sunderland do and Wycombe do. Wycombe Wanderers, it was brilliant last year. If we can do anything like that again this year, it'd be phenomenal. And I believe we can. So that's all that matters.
And does it feel like there are kind of real key points of the season? Obviously, at the end of the season is quite key, but does it feel like, obviously, guys, when you're planning or when you're, sort of in it, does it feel like, as you say, the start of the second half of the season is quite important? Yeah,
and Christmas is important, the Christmas period. And again, everyone knows what I did at Christmas, and I think that's learning from me. And it took some belief from my owners as well in me that I was going to do that, change the whole team around for that middle game. And I think, that paid off, and it's little things like that the fans and the owners, they get behind me. They don't realise how big that is. You don't. If everyone wants to be negative, you know what, you probably get some negative stuff and some negative results. If everyone wants to be positive and get behind and believe, we might just tip those games that are in the balance just in our favour because everyone's so up for it. And I hope that the fans know the power of positivity and belief in this team, because we are punching way above our weight, and I absolutely love it. And, I'll make it work no matter what happens.
And as you say, a great advert for the club that, you can develop players like Anis and see them go on. And also, I know this week, obviously, you were at the, made time to go to the Reardon Room opening, which again is a really special reminder of what the club means to so many people.
Absolutely, John Reardon was everything to this club, probably rivals Matt Bloomfield as Mr. Wycombe. I saw his title, Mr. Wycombe, and Matt was probably the modern era one, but John Reardon definitely the former Mr. Wycombe, because he'd done absolutely everything. And to read, even me reading what he'd done, shocked me, surprised me, and so the way this football club looks after its ex-players is absolutely brilliant, and ex-managers. I really want to go and see Brian Lee soon, because obviously he lost his wife, and Brian's getting on, and what he did for this football club as well. We cannot just let these pass, these times that were so important to the club. So it's very proud to be part of this and to be part of this Wycombe Wanderers special club, because they were the structure, they were the building blocks for everything that we've achieved now. So absolutely wanted to go to that and make sure we paid the proper tribute to what was Mr. Wycombe.
Well, many people I spoke to that day as well said how lucky that the club is to have you for a long period as well. So hopefully I'll be going to a room named after yourself at one point as well.
It doesn't matter, as long as they look back and think it was all right. Yeah, that's all. As long as they didn't hate my time, because I know there's a few managers that didn't go down too well, but I might not be in the same stature as some of those ex-players, but I've absolutely given my all for this club and I'll continue to do that as long as I'm in charge.
Manager Gareth Ainsworth talking about the possibility of perhaps having another room named after him after his time here. And Mark's still with us. Brilliant that Gareth made time to come along to that event, the Reading Room opening this week.
Yeah, look, fantastic. There was what representation from a number of generations of club legends there, and really great to have Gareth alongside Martin and ex-players. So yeah, fantastic.
And as we touched on earlier, really brilliant that you can have evenings like this, 2 a week, and hopefully it's something you can do throughout the year as well, where people can, come along who perhaps feel a bit kind of like cut off or isolated, and a real opportunity for them to meet new people and to get more out of the football club. Yeah,
look, that was why we decided to run it in the evening from 5 till 8. We thought that was possibly a time, particularly that age bracket, might be on their own or not getting quite enough food or a hot meal, and obviously heating's expensive at the minute. So that was the aim to run in the evening, and we're running all the way through till the end of February, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's 5 till 8 p.m. And conversations are happening with various partners to see if we can keep this going.
And really interesting how conversations developed. There was a gentleman, he came in quite late, and he was just saying that he'd come from Downley, and then someone else said, oh yeah, I live in Downley and lived there 20 years, and he said, oh, whereabouts? And things just sparked like that.
Yeah, we've had so many stories like that. I mean, one of the first nights, I think we had a couple who were 88 and 87, drove themselves to the ground, and were both former season ticket holders, but hadn't been down to the ground for a while because they're now sort of maybe not as stable on their feet and a little bit concerned about all the people on a match day, and how fantastic to bring them back to Adams Park. And I've spoken to some club directors about trying to maybe escort them to a game in the future, which would be a lovely story, and great that's come from the Warm Hub.
And really nice to bring people in as well, because as we touched on at the very beginning, it's not somewhere that you just sort of pass, is it, on a Thursday and think, oh, I'll just drop in.
Yeah, look, it's not the most accessible. We all know that, but we tried to solve that by allowing a +1. As we thought transportation might be a problem. We've had very few +1s. People have made the effort to come down to Adams Park themselves, even on some quite frosty, chilly nights where, it was slippery, so we obviously made sure access was appropriate. So yeah, great that they've made the effort to come down and have a great time at Adams Park.
So what's pleased you most about these nights, as we spoke to earlier on, and it's kind of really ticked all the boxes that you set out to achieve, really?
Yeah, look, I think as Luke mentioned earlier on, the fact that we've had non-football people down here, there's lots of people that have a real love and an affinity with their local club, but some of these guys don't watch football, don't love football, but they've come down to the stadium and enjoyed the offering. So look, I think that was really great. We also did some promotional work before the Sheffield Wednesday game, and actually so many people knew about the Warm Hub, so many people were really complimentary, and that was really satisfying as well, that the word is out there, and that the club's fans are proud of what the club are doing.
And something quite nice as well, I think people might discover, perhaps come along to not been to a match day for a long time, or not come at all, maybe to come and watch the club and get involved in other ways too.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's a football club, and we play matches once, maybe twice a week, but there's lots of stuff going on at Adams Park. The foundation is a 365-day a year foundation. We're doing lots of different things, so look, get involved.
Brilliant to find out about the work of the foundation. Thank you again for having us this week.
Thanks very much.
Great to have the Wycombe Wanderers Show out on location. We're at the Caledonian Suite. You'll probably notice it's gone a bit quieter, but soon we'll be the only ones here, and we'll be back next week. Don't forget there is a podcast version of the show. Brilliant to hear from the guests this evening, including Gareth and also Katie, and my thanks also to Phil and our other guests this evening as well. Don't forget you can catch the commentary from Port Vale on Saturday, kick-off at 3. Phil brings you the commentary on Wanderers TV and here on Wycombe Sound. Have a great week.